Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake ELLENBOGEN. Today I'm going to be talking about Devin White, who was cut by the Eagles, has not played this year, and why I'm not so hot on the idea of signing him. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Kick. And that's going to do that. Just want to let you guys know, of course, today's sponsor is BetUS. You can go and use YouTube150, the code YouTube150 in the description below. Head on over to BetUS, and you will get 150% bonus match on your first deposit using that code, and 125% bonus match on the next 2 deposits using that code. So be sure to check out BetUS. We're going to have all sorts of stuff on this channel, but of course, I know the Rams are not playing this week, but if you're trying to get, your feet wet a little bit this week and trying to get into some games, you're finding it hard to, have a rooting interest or whatever, try BetUS. It'll get you in the mood. So, guys, I've gotten plenty of DMs. I was, added all over Twitter about Devin White. And I have some thoughts on this, and some people may agree, some people may disagree, but I first want to start off by saying I'm absolutely against signing Devin White. He is a big name who has not played well as of late. He really only has a couple good seasons under his belt. The one season, which I believe he was second team All-Pro, was because he had 9 sacks as an inside linebacker. Guy's a great blitzer, no doubt about it. Crazy athlete. But he's not a great tackler, and he's not great in coverage. And how often do we talk about players coming out of college who have great athleticism and who translate? The hope is that they'll translate well, in the coverage area of their game and, being sideline to sideline and, tackling. But how many times do we see those guys fail? Devin White was on a Super Bowl team. He was on a team with Tom Brady. He was a top pick in the draft. He came out of LSU. So in a lot of ways, Devin White kind of gets a free pass. It's just like, in a sense, when people kept asking me, hey, why doesn't Okello have any interest around the league, but Stephon Gilmore just signed to a 1-year deal? Well, or, whatever it was, $8 million or $10 million or whatever. The point I was making is that the cornerback market was really dead this year, has been dead in the past. It was a decent cornerback draft, which hurts, but also there was interest. It was more so both teams have to agree. And so the money-wise, the reason why Stephon Gilmore made $8 to $10 million this year is because he won a Defensive Player of the Year. So what am I getting at this? Well, when you win a Defensive Player of the Year, or you're a second team All-Pro, well, Devin White is going to have that name recognition a little bit more so than Troy Reeder and Christian Rozeboom. But I'm not saying he's not better than Troy Reeder and Christian Rozeboom. I'm not saying that at all. As a matter of fact, I do think Devin White is better than both. Slightly, but I do think he's better than both. I'll say this right now. Troy Reeder, okay? Hasn't had 2,000 snaps yet, a 13.9 missed tackle percentage. Christian Rozeboom has a 17.9 missed tackle percentage. Ernest Jones has a 7.1 missed tackle percentage, and Devin White has a 12.3 missed tackle percentage for their careers. 80.8 catch percentage allowed is Devin White. 80.7 is Ernest Jones. 88.6 is Christian Rozeboom. And 80.0 is Troy Reeder. In addition to that targeted passer rating, Devin White, when quarterbacks target him, they have 106.6 passer rating. Ernest Jones, 92.2. Christian Rozeboom, 106.4. And Troy Reeder, 107.3. Reeder and Rozeboom only have 1 penalty in their career. Ernest Jones has 6, and Devin White has 13. So I bring that up because, look, I'm not saying Christian Rozeboom and Troy Reeder are better than any of these guys. I'm not. But I wanted to bring it up because these are the 2 starters. Ernest Jones is the guy they let go. They traded him away for nothing. And Devin White is the guy that Rams fans are proposing should be a Ram. Now, I guess I'm not totally against the idea of adding a really good athlete. And, maybe he is 26, like whatever. But do you know why I feel more against it than maybe I would in the past? Because the Rams right now, there are two reasons. First off, let's talk about this. Practice squad, okay? They're elevating Ahkello Witherspoon. They're elevating Xavier Smith, right? They are banged up. This is a banged up football team. They need the practice squad. You need money to pay the guys who are elevated from the practice squad, right? So the Rams need this cap space to do that. Now, it sounds fine, like, okay, Devin White was cut, didn't play all year, it's going to be cheap, veteran minimum, whatever. But even the veteran minimum for a player they don't really need. I don't think Devin White is an upgrade. In addition to that, think about this. He's better than Troy Reeder and Christian Rozeboom. But is he an upgrade? Like, can you notice it? Is it tangible? I don't know if you can, but more importantly here, Christian Rozeboom and Troy Reeder, they've had plenty of reps. Devin White has not played in this defense. He doesn't know anything about this team. So that would be a disadvantage. But the second reason why I'm against signing him is because it would block Omar Speights and it would block Jake Hummel. Now, I want to make this very clear. I think the Rams totally missed the plot. They missed the plot. They had a chance to do something, and really, if we're going by storylines and the way this thing normally works out, is you trade away an Ernest Jones because the UDFA in camp is really showing out. And the UDFA in camp was Omar Speights, who had starting reps, right? Who had a fantastic preseason, the best among all linebackers according to PFF. And you had Jake Hummel, who, let's be honest, this is his third year. It's his time. He deserves a shot. It'd be one thing if you were saying Christian Rozeboom and Troy Reeder are playing decent football, and maybe these guys have more upside, but Troy Reeder and Christian Rozeboom are playing solid football where there's no chance, there's no point in making a move. At this point in the season, you're 1-4. One loss against the Raiders, then having to go to the Vikings, I would say is pretty much over. I would pretty much give up on the season if they lost coming out of the bye to the Las Vegas Raiders, who don't even know who their quarterback is. Right now, it's going to be Aiden O'Connell, and who knows? Gardner Minshew might be the quarterback by the time they play in Week 7. The point I'm making here is that they should not be losing to the Raiders, but they're 1-4, so a decision can be made. And I do give the Rams a lot of credit. They benched Trey White. They benched Cameron Kinchins. They let guys like Jalen McCullough, Ahkello Witherspoon, and Josh Wallace get more opportunities. You're seeing more reps on the offensive side for Jordan Whittington. You're seeing more for Tutu Atwell. You saw Blake Corum a little bit. So I think that they are fair about it. I don't think that this is an organization that has a ton of favoritism. But with that said, there is favoritism here. They are choosing to rely on Troy Reeder and Christian Rozeboom, probably because they like those guys the most. Whether that is they like them or they add just communication or, whatever, I would argue it's the lack of penalties that they bring up. They're not dirty, so you don't have to worry about them giving, the team 15 yards. That helps. But why are they really out there? They know the system, all that. But I think the Rams missed the plot. I think Omar Speights, the storyline, if this was a movie, which it's not, but if it was, Ernest Jones gets traded, Omar Speights comes in, and Omar Speights ends up being a star. And who knows? He could still end up being a star. But I feel like they missed the opportunity because right now, the good news is if you're a Rams fan, I don't know how much worse it can get at linebacker. The bad news is I don't know how much worse it can get at linebacker. So Omar Speights, in a sense, should be able to just kind of fit right in there. And if he's bad, he's bad. It is what it is. But I think he deserves the opportunity because when you're not doing well at your job and you have other guys behind you, well, the other guys deserve a shot now. And I think that's kind of where we're at. In addition to that, Jake Hummel was the top 4 linebacker per PFF in the 2024 preseason. Top rated coverage linebacker. Well, That's a good thing because Christian Roseboom is giving up 88.6 catch percentage for his career, 791 snaps. Not good. Troy Reeder struggled in coverage as well. Neither of these guys are great in coverage. They don't get enough depth in their dropbacks. And so when they're dropping back into coverage, well, if they're not getting enough depth, you can easily layer it over a linebacker. And that's what a lot of quarterbacks do. And we've seen it. Jordan Love did that. Brock Purdy's done that. We've seen it. Kyler Murray, so forth. So Jake Hummel, it's time to give him an opportunity. You could say what you will about Omar Speights. Okay, maybe he's not ready, whatever. I disagree. And even if he's not, I don't really care at this point. But when you look at Jake Hummel, this is somebody who is overdue. He should have already surpassed Christian Roseboom. And I think the main reason why Hummel's not out there is because he's not overly big. So he'd be easily to get moved off the ball, you would think. But that's already what is happening with Reeder and Roseboom. These are guys that are not able to disengage from blocks. It's not like this is an issue all of a sudden if you put in Hummel. It's already an issue. It's a huge issue because now the defensive line has all this pressure where if they don't stop the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage, well, this play's done. They are screwed because when they get to the second level, the C's part. You have Hummel not Hummel. You don't have Hummel. That's the issue. You have Reeder getting engulfed by a block, can't get off it. And then you got Roseboom, who's on the other side, who's also engulfed in a block. Or maybe he dropped into coverage on an obvious run play. That's happened. So right now, there is a reason why they should make these moves. And I do believe that Jake Hummel and Omar Speights should be the beneficiary of those. Now, in addition to that, because people will be like, well, Devin White, on top of the funds and the stunted growth, it's already there, but taking away opportunities from Omar Speights or Jake Hummel or both by having Devin White come in, I think would be a mistake. Devin White wouldn't be ready to start anyway, but here's the deal. In a minimum of 50% snaps, Devin White was the lowest rated linebacker in 2023. He was the 86th ranked linebacker in 2023. He had 9 missed tackles in 2023. He was rated second to last in a minimum of 50% snaps in 2022. He missed 16 tackles in 2022. He ranked 54th among all linebackers in 2021. He was second in the league with 21 missed tackles. And in 2020, he was 49th rated linebacker, tied for 5th in missed tackles, 45th in 2019, 13 missed tackles. This is not a reliable football player. He is an athlete. He is a very good athlete, and he can flash every now and then, but we've seen Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom flash because guess what? That game against the Lions, they were great. It caused me to make some stupid video about how and let me make this very clear. I didn't think that they were going to end up being anything. It was more so if they keep this up, they might have something. They might have been right. Well, clearly they were wrong. They were just wrong. It's okay to be wrong. They were wrong about Trey White. They made the decision. They were wrong about Brett Rippon. They go out and get Carson Wentz, right? We've seen it before. This team is not afraid to admit that they're wrong, but they have to do that now with the linebackers, and it has to be Omar Speights and Jake Hummel, not Devin White. You don't want to spend more cap on Devin White just so you could once again find out what the Eagles found out. He's not that good, and he's not worth the name recognition he gets. I mean nothing against him personally, but from a pure football analysis standpoint, watching the tape, I understand why people were excited about seeing that name, but he's a big name that shouldn't be a big name anymore. He's lost his step. It's no different than Shaq Leonard. It's no different than Dalvin Cook. It's no different than Ezekiel Elliott, except for the fact these are all guys that had much better careers for longer, and Devin White really only had 1 or 2 good seasons and has kind of been just overrated for a long time. So, in conclusion, the Rams can figure this thing out. They have to win moving forward. You have to obviously get that win coming out of the bye against the Raiders, And I think it starts with they've already made some decisions in the back end of the secondary, which I love. I think now the first thing that they should do is reevaluate the linebacker room. It's time to give Omar Speights and Jake Hummel the reins, because it can't get much worse than this, but it can get much better than this. And I do think not only are Speights and Jake Hummel just guys that you would throw in there to be potential upgrades, I think they can be quality players at this level. I think Jake Hummel's shown it in the cover game of his, of his game, the coverage ability. And I think Speights has shown it as a run defender. Did not miss a tackle in preseason. So we'll see what the Rams end up doing. My inkling, based on week 5 alone, what they did with Akello and Josh Wallace and Jalen McCullough, is that we will see at least one of Omar Speights and Jake Hummel. If I'm being honest with you, and I can only get one guy benched right now, Troy Reeder is playing a better he's having a much better season than Roseboom. Roseboom's really struggling. It is a problem, and we'll see if they can get it cleaned up, but it's not great, and I do think it's time to bench Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom. But if you're going to bench one or the other, and I only get one pick, based on the numbers, based on the stats, it would be Christian Roseboom. This year, Troy Reeder, he has 4 fewer tackles, 2 fewer missed tackles, and he's been better in coverage, allowing only 66.7% of targets to be completed for 101 yards, whereas Christian Roseboom has allowed 90.5 this year. He's also given up 2 touchdowns, so not great, obviously. Troy Reeder has, not given up any touchdowns, and big number there is going to be the passer rating allowed when targeted. Christian Roseboom has 135.5. Troy Reeder has 85.7. So, do I love Troy Reeder? No, I like the guy. We interviewed him on Downtown Rams. I do like him. But, and I like Roseboom's story. I like that he came from the UDFA circuit there, but he's just not a starter. And that's okay. He's a replacement level player, should be on a 53. So should Troy Reeder, not starting. Troy Reeder, though, is the better linebacker. So I think if you're going to bench one or the other, bench Christian Roseboom, keep Troy Reeder, and then add Speights. If you're going to bench them both, Speights and Hummel. No brainer. That's what I think they should do, but we'll see what ends up happening. I do think it's going to end up being probably Troy Reeder and Omar Speights. So that's my feeling. If it's not, then it will be Speights and Hummel. I don't think you can look at Christian Roseboom and say, yeah, this guy should definitely be starting. I just don't. But that's going to do it. So be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and of course, be sure to check out today's sponsor, BetUS. YouTube 150 is your code. And if you use that, you can get 150% bonus match on your first deposit and 125% on your next 2 deposits. Be sure to bet responsibly as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.